It was a squirrel. say if you don't know what it means.
All right, y'all getting ready? Get ready. We're not going wrong. Get ready. Sister Sam, won't you?
Yeah, why are you sleeping? I'm sorry?
You go to my live, I forget how to do it.
Oh,
Okay.
Every time I always forget.
Close that. Facebook.
With Dr. Harris Black Lives Matter show, we're here once again in Fresno, California, better known as Mississippi Fresno. We are here once again on a Monday night, 6/1, June 1st, 6/1. Wow, the year is going by fast. Can't believe that. But we are here once again, and tonight topic show, Fresno weekend protests, George Floyd. That's what our show is about tonight. There were many protests all over Fresno this week, And we were at the Justice Corner this week as well. And so we're playing footage of the protest that was here in Fresno. Very, very diverse crowd that was at the Justice Corner. A lot of supporters. It was just really phenomenal to see all of the groups that were there and marching and protesting. It was really to see the diversity, to see that the people were very sincere from their hearts. We had different people on the bullhorn chanting, "I can't breathe," jail the 4 cops, whose streets, our streets, and it was just really a good turnout. The word was sent out about 10 o'clock on Friday, and so when the message got to me that we were going to the Justice Corner, I blew the bugle and told all of my people and supporters to get to the Justice Corner so that we could be able to protest the George Floyd murder lynching that happened back in Minneapolis. So we have a caller on the line, but I just want to give a shout out to all of the people, all of the organizers who organized. I wasn't able to make it to every event, but I just want to commend everyone that participated in this George Floyd protest over the weekend. It was just a lot of good energy is what I really like. You see the people still marching right now. We have one sister who just kept chanting, that "I can't breathe, I can't breathe," across the city. And you could just see the Black Lives Matter sign is in the forefront. You see that people are marching, want to be heard. People were stopping video, live streaming right on the spot. One guy told us that he didn't want us to stop chanting. He wanted to record it on his phone. And so, it was just a lot of positive. Somebody asked me today, there was a statement that there wasn't a lot of people at our demonstration on Friday. One of the things that I look at as organizing is not in some cases the having a lot of people, but it's really having people who are really sincere and really have the heart to be there. Because you can have people that's there for, not really for the same reason that we're there for justice, consciousness, and trying to raise the awareness of our people. So for me right now, however many was there is what the Creator wanted there. And I just thank those who came to support the event on Friday, and as well as those all across the city of Fresno. So we're going to go ahead and go to the line right now. I'll be kind of showing the video off and on, playing little bitty clips here and there. Please call into our show, 516-387-1474. That's 516-387-1474. You're with Dr. Harris, Black Lives Matter Show. We are broadcasting here out of Fresno, California. I am an international civil rights leader, not just local but international. I am the founder of National Network in Action here in Fresno, California. And we're going to go to the phones right now because I want to kind of hear different folks' perspective of what happened or how they feel the weekend went here in Fresno. Welcome to Dr. Harris Black Lives Matter Show. You're here with us. We're talking about Fresno weekend protests, the George Floyd protests. Talk to us. Welcome to our show this evening. Are you there, caller? Okay, all right. We hear you. I had to cut your volume up. Thank you for calling in to our show. Tell us what you thought about about what's going on across the country, and maybe talk to us about the different protests that went on across the city.
Well, well, number one, I feel different emotions about what's going on across the nation and really across the world. But I feel like it was time, how many more Breonna Taylors, how many more George Floyd, Fresno, we've seen our share of George Floyd, we've seen our share of Breonna Taylor's, abuse and murder at the hands of police. So it was just time, but it seemed like the people had to be stirred, like the people had to be enraged, and I think it was just a collision of everything, a collision of the pandemic, a collision of Trump in him just really letting America down, not giving a care about anybody but people with money. So, and then the shelter in place. I think it just was a big culmination, a big gathering of different things that led to this time, and I believe this pandemic made it, and the conditions of the pandemic and what was coming out, I think it magnified things that have been going on, and then it emboldened white supremacists, those that practice and teach hate based on race, I think that they got emboldened, but they didn't expect the backlash. The police didn't expect the backlash. The powers that be didn't expect the backlash. And I just commend people for standing. We know that there's infiltrators. We know there's people coming from the outside, but there's always been infiltrators. Our police department is full of infiltrators. So it's just an explosion of different things that came together, and I just really commend the people that are having the courage to stand and having the courage to fight. And those that have been in the fight to continue, like, you yourself, you've been in, you got 3 decades in, and, I was just looking at some Facebook posts today, one from Gloria Hernandez, who's also, been fighting police brutality, for years here in Fresno, before it became the thing to stand for it, I'm reading a post from 7 years ago where you guys were doing a rally on the Justice Corner, May 31st, 7 years ago, 2013. Saying before the Black Lives Matter even came out saying, hey, you know, prosecute these killer cops, put these killer cops in jail. You know, they should not be walking off. What an insult and a slap to our faces, you know. And it's been a big controversy over violence versus non-violence, looters versus, you know, a peaceful demonstration, and you know, and I'm just like, you can understand the rage, you know, and it's just not a time for us to sit still. It's really not a time for peace, and I know people don't like to hear that because peace makes you comfortable, and anything not peaceful makes you not comfortable, and we're not comfortable, you know, we tend to, you know, get fearful. And seeking out that comfort again. So the conditions are what they are, and I just commend those that have been in the struggle and have been in the fight, you know, seeing these things that happened before they got magnified the way they've been magnified over the past 4 or 5 years. And I just want Fresno to keep standing. You know, my question is, you know, will you keep standing? Because it's really easy to sit down. It's really comfortable sitting down. Will you keep standing? Will you keep standing when the cameras aren't rolling? Will you keep standing when there's not this, you know, competition from city to city of who can get the most protesters out? You know, so that's my question. Will you keep standing, Fresno?
Well, you know, one of the things that I think is important to recognize, you know, you are correct. I have been in the movement for many, many years. Just to give a little synopsis on, you know, what my tenure is that, you know, I started out with Reverend Al Sharpton being his local president here in Fresno for a year. And then right after that, the first year, he appointed me to be the state president of California. So California was my entire region. Can you hear me there?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. And there was a lot of traveling I did. I had a chance to meet Jesse Jackson, and so I ran with the best, if I may say, for as learning, up under their wings. So, you know, and then dealing with California, every different city I then appointed. So anyway, after the 10 years, I left Sharpton and started my own organization called National Network in Action. And from that point, you know, I created my civil rights organization, and then I started appointing national field marshals across the country. I'm going to use the word boot camp. Being in civil rights work, there's a lot to learn. Doing it for over 30 years, I've never been sued for defamation of character. Never anything from that standpoint. You know, I mean what I say, and I say what I mean. I do my research before I speak. I have a team of people who do research before I speak. I have principles and morals that I stand on each and every day. And so it's been a roller coaster ride. It's been up, it's been down, it's been great. I've started movements in like the city of Vallejo, where a brother was shot 30-something times in front of his home. I organized the entire city of Vallejo, brought resources in from San Francisco, Oakland, Uncle Bobby, Cop Watch, and different things to that city. So, you know, what people have to understand about doing civil rights work is someone asked me about, is there a protest tomorrow? I'm going to talk about the protest tomorrow because there's some mixed stuff going on about that. I want to make sure everybody kind of know from my perspective what's going on. And so, you know, one of the ones with myself, Mysa Magoo, Brother Ralphie, Gloria, we brought Cop Watch to Fresno to educate the people about how to film police, because we didn't have an independent police auditor. And, you know, for 10 years we kept fighting and organizing. You know, and then learning from the elders, learning from Gloria, who I give a lot of credit to for teaching me what I know now. As a matter of fact, I thanked her this morning. We were talking on Facebook Messenger, and I just said, you know, thank you for all that you have, you know, taught me, you know. But, you know, I feel right now that, you know, a lot of people see what I do, and they think it's easy. They think it's really just, you can just jump out there and do it. You can, but, you know, I would say get up under some seasoned people, learn, the rules, the laws, how to protest, when to protest, what to say, what not to say. Because once you say something, you can't bring it back. There's been conversations that's been reported to me that I have read. I had posted some information last night about not partnering with the police, and I believe people have taken it out of context of what I said. You have a constitution, supposedly, that says you have the right to protest on the sidewalk. If you get off the sidewalk, you have to have a permit. Sometimes when I shut down River Park, me and the Brown Berets and different people, we didn't have a permit. We didn't get permission to shut down River Park because it wasn't an idea to get permission, because, you know, I'm the founder of Black Lives Matter here in Fresno. I was the first one that started it, and then everyone else started, you know, said, well, we're Black Lives Matter, and so whatever. But the bottom line is that, you know, when you're organizing in civil rights, you know, I'm sure Dr. King didn't go ask the police department, may you give me a permit to march in your street? No, Dr. King just took the streets, because that was the whole point of protesting. You know, so, you know, we hear this conversation of peaceful protests and this and that, and everybody has their own ideology of what that means. No one will ever find out. Brother Joby Jones just sent me a message. I feel at this time, I'm a teacher now, and not that I can't, you know, get out there with the bullhorn, because I was out there Friday, but I feel that the knowledge that the Creator has given me now is for me to pass down to the next generation for those who want to learn it. You know, I do know your rights when confronted by police officers. You know, Cop Watch training, mediation between police and community. So, you know, there's a lot of things that I bring to the table that I don't think a lot of people know. And I think sometimes people just run off emotions or what have you. But I think that at the end of the day, people know my heart. I think people know that even yourself, you know, you had an issue with the police, and, you know, I held a town hall meeting about your case. You didn't even know about it until someone told you. So my heart is for the people, and what people have to understand when you're in leadership is a lonely place. I think a lot of people see me get in front of the TV cameras or marching or whatever they, you know, speaking in front, you know, I think the largest crowd I spoke in front of was 30,000 people at City Hall for May Day. And, you know, it's not an easy thing, you know, to really get up and speak. I mean, you really have to know what you're talking about. You know, and so I just feel at this moment right now, caller, that I think there's people who don't understand why I say certain things. And I think if people want to know why I say what I say, then you should ask me, right? Not one time in my 30-some years that you will find that I ever said I hate police. If you do find it, let me know. As far as I know, you'll never find it because I've never said it. Not one time where you'll see that I enticed a riot or pushing violence or anything. It's just something I don't do. But I do believe in what I believe in, and that's justice, freedom, and liberation for our people. And in doing that, you have to have courage. You have to have discipline. You have to be organized. You have to know how to mobilize. You have to know how to educate, motivate. And those are the things that I want to teach people how to do. I think we need a manual, an organizing manual, especially here in Fresno, so that people who wants to organize or wants to do a protest or wants to do it, that they can have at least a foundation of who they can talk to about how can I do this. You know, we're elders now. I'll be 50 years old in August 24th, Lord's willing. We're elders now. We're here to teach the next generation how to do things. So Malcolm X said this in the 1960s when he was here with us. He said that there was going to be a race war in America, a race war. And I see it coming now. I see it coming now. Because people are tired. As Fannie Lou Hamer said, people are tired of being sick and tired of being abused, being trampled. Dr. King said, the iron foot on my neck, on me. People are, you know, our black people were tired of being shot down by water hoses in Alabama. You know, black people were tired of not being able to sit at the lunch counter. But black people were tired because they couldn't be able to get on a public city bus and sit where they want to sit. So the question that I ask people is, and no one, for whatever reason, can't give me an answer on the question that I'm about to ask. You can't even jog down the street without being shot with a double-barrel shotgun. You can't be detained like George Floyd without someone humiliating you with their foot on your neck. And the crazy part about the George Floyd piece, if I was to, here in Fresno, have a dog and put my foot on the neck of a dog, and the dog is hollering and screaming, and I'm just sitting there like don't have no sense, or I don't understand or anything, somebody will call the police to say Floyd Harris is hurting that animal. The police will be called. My foot is still on the neck of that dog. And they will say the dog has rights. And you can't abuse the animal. They will literally say the dog has rights, Floyd. And I could see them pulling a gun on me because my foot is on the neck of this animal. Now I want you to picture George Floyd while I'm talking to you. Now, the same people that they call out for the dog is the same people, law enforcement, that has his foot on the neck of George Floyd. So I would go to jail. They would arrest me for animal endanger. So here it is, we have a black man who is foaming at the mouth with this white man foot on his neck. He's saying he can't breathe. People are saying he can't breathe. The officer is just looking at him like he in some kind of daze. The other officers are just sitting there looking like they're in a daze. I believe they're post-traumatic stress. Just for the way they were looking. So the question I asked, how do we supposed to feel? I mean, I don't see that being a racist statement. I mean, I wish someone would call in at 516-387-1474 and tell me, how do black people supposed to feel? We're talking 400 years of slavery, of lynchings, murder, black women raped, black men raped, children sold, women sold, black people sold, black people burned alive, black women babies cut out of their stomach, head bashed in the ground. Someone can put the number up on the live stream. I appreciate it. 516-387-1474. Black men burned alive. Black women being raped in front of their husbands. Black men and women being hung over street light posts, tied up over railroad track. How do we supposed to feel? That's the question. And I can't get nobody to answer that for me. But the answer I do get is, don't be violent. That's the answer I get. But we've been dealing with this as black people for 400 years. Rodney King, 1991. Los Angeles, California, 1991. He was on the ground, crawling like an animal, being beat by a bunch of thugs that you call your police officers today. Being hit with billy clubs. I mean, can you imagine that? This was in 1991. Here he is in 2020, and we got white men putting a dirty, nasty knee on our neck. Here's the other issue. Now, this issue I bring to Fresno. And I know everybody don't agree with everything I say, everything I do. And I'm glad you don't. Because I don't want you to be a yes man or yes woman. But what I like for you to do is call into our show and let's have a conversation about something you disagree with me about, or something that you may have a misunderstanding, or I can clarify. I'll be happy to tell you. I will be happy to explain to you. If I'm wrong about something, I am man enough to apologize if someone showed me that I'm wrong. Now, I want to talk about Fresno, and then I'm going to go to the lines. First of all, I want to commend the young people that organized the protests at City Hall yesterday. I think it took them a lot of courage to do that. I don't tell people how to organize unless they want my opinion or whatever. I'll be happy to give it to them. There were some things that went on yesterday that I don't understand, and I would like to speak with these young people to get their perspective on certain things they did. But overall, I felt that it was good. It was good. George Floyd was killed. And there's outcry all over the world, which there should be. What I don't understand about Fresno, and maybe someone can help me understand this. I'm not pointing anybody out or any other. I just want to get an understanding. That's all I'm asking for. Why is it that someone else can unfortunately get killed and murdered in another state, another city, and the Fresno people is upset, which you have a right to be. But yet, when people get killed here in Fresno, I mean, let's see, there was Friday protests, there was one that night, there were, I know of one Saturday, maybe two Saturday. I'm talking about in Fresno. And there was one Saturday. So let's say there were five. So let's say there were 5 protesters from Friday. And we were at the Justice Corner, Fresno and C Street. Between Friday at 4:30 and Sunday at 2 o'clock, there were 5 protests. We had black leaders there, whoever. Why, when people get killed by Fresno PD, the community don't, the families don't feel the same support that I seen this weekend? I'm talking about here in Fresno. So, my opinion is that it's easier to talk about an issue somewhere else. Because I want all of you who's listening to my voice on live stream and wherever, the radio, I want you to picture your loved one getting killed in Fresno. Whoever it could be. Hope it never happened. But just for instance, wouldn't you want the same outcry that George Floyd got here in Fresno? I'm just asking a question. Because I don't understand right now, may George Floyd rest in peace, why is his life so important, which it is important, but yet the people who die at the hands of law enforcement in Fresno, you don't see. Just the core of us, you don't see the mass protests that we seen this weekend for Dylan Noble, the other brother in Southeast Fresno,
Freddie
Centennial, the brother. Who was that?
Isaiah Murrieta.
Isaiah. Brother who was jumping the fence, running from the police, and he pulled his gun and shot him in the head. I mean, what was the outcry here in Fresno? I mean, again, I'm not trying to pick a fight with nobody. I'm just asking a question. Why is it that George Floyd, which he should, get the outcry, but when something happened in Fresno, we don't see the same intensity, same momentum, the same energy? That's my question. We're gonna go to the board now. 3205. 30205. We have another caller, 7922. Welcome to Dr. Harris Black Lives Matter Show. We're talking about Fresno weekend protests. George Floyd. Talk to us this evening.
Pastor Harris, Brother Bullet, how you doing?
Hey, my man, what's going on? What's going on?
Hey, just another beautiful day in the neighborhood, but I'm going to tell you flat out, I'm outraged. I'm outraged.
Yes, sir.
I'm outraged because, once again, a black man has lost his life. Now, like you said, this has been going on 400 plus years.
Right.
No respect.
Right.
They still beating. They still with us. They still taking advantage of us.
Yes, sir.
Now, you were just saying you didn't understand how come that same outrage is not reflected here in Fresno when something happens. There's something you need to understand. You keep saying you don't understand Fresno. Yes, you do, because you were raised here. But let me explain to you why you don't get that same outrage. In order to be rageful and to march like they do in Los Angeles, in Oakland, in Chicago, in Detroit, in New York, you have to have a certain mindset. The average people in Fresno do not have that mindset. They have the mindset of, I'm afraid I'm going to lose my job if I'm noticed out there. I'm afraid somebody's going to say something to me. The police may come around to my house. You have to have a certain mindset. I have that mindset. See, I got that so my folks know. I have marched in my share of march. I have been in my share of protest. You have to have a certain mindset in order to do this. You say there is a certain amount of outrage. Hey, it is. And it's only going to go so far. You can just say and picture one of your loved ones being shot down. Well, yeah, I can tell you now, if it was one of mine, my family going to organize. You going to ride for hours, but that's our mindset. See? You know, today, some people want to give me heat because of certain things I posted today. Why are you advocating violence? I'm not advocating violence. What I'm doing is a call to arms. At some point, you got to get tired of being sick and tired. You got to quit turning the other cheek. It is time to get in the groove and to protect yourself. We live in a country where we were told if you work hard, you succeed. But if that was true, black folks would own this country. We get oppressed because we're black. Not because we're ignorant, not because we're lazy, not because we're stupid and don't get written, but because we black. Brother Stokely Carmichael said that back in the mid-60s. It's still true today. It's still true today. It's time to get outraged. See, it's time out for worrying about who ain't doing. If you got the heart to do, then you do it. Because me personally, if I got to be out there alone, I'm going to be out there.
Well, you know, Brother Tony, I had posted some things last night, and it seemed to got under folks' skin for what reason, I don't know. I think some say I was criticizing the young people for organizing the march they did on Sunday, which
I read that.
I would never do that.
I didn't see that as criticism.
Yeah, I would never do that. That's not even part of my character. My job is to teach our young people. There are things that I would like to speak to them about. For as they're organizing to get their perspective. I never tell anyone how to organize unless I'm asked. But I think as a black man, I think I have a right to my perspective and a right to my opinion, and folks have a right to disagree, but respectfully, right? And I just it was reported back to me that police bought pizza and giving out pizza, and police wanted to buy things and masks and gloves and all this stuff, and I'm like, that's not how we get down. I mean, if you go, how do you protest? And I understand the peaceful protest, but who are you protesting? You can't eat at the oppressor table and then turn around and want to hold the oppressor accountable. Chickens don't run with chicken hawks. Okay, so it comes a time where you have to draw the line and say, well, either we're going to roll with them or we're not going to roll with them. And so I think that my concern is that I'm seeing all this energy, which is good, great. But I don't understand why when someone get killed in Fresno, why the 5 protesters that I seen this weekend is not standing with the families who have lost their loved one. That's where I'm at right now. See, then the question
again. Again, like I just told you, it takes a certain mindset. Do you understand what I'm telling you? It takes a certain mindset. Sure. You know what? People are upset right now. George Floyd was murdered. And maybe this is the one that's the tipping scale. That's tipping the scale, okay? But nationwide, this is going on. When somebody gets killed here, it happened again. I knew that was going to happen over here because this side of town, and that's how I go that. There is a certain mindset in Fresno.
Well, how do we change that mindset?
But in order to change the mindset, you got to change the way people think. You got to make them realize there's no need to be afraid. You can't be scared. And like you said, one of the problems I have had with what happened yesterday is that, again, like you said, how can you protest about the oppressor and you breaking bread with me? You sitting at a table with me. You having conversations with Officer Friendly. Because where I come from, the officer was never friendly. But you have got to get the message out that when you're protesting, you're protesting. You cannot be afraid not to stand up and speak your piece. And unfortunately, a lot of that is what it is here.
So one of the things that and I'm going to get to this caller because this caller been waiting patient. I'm going to get to this caller here as well. I just want to say this a little bit here. Look like they dropped off. I'm sorry. I made a post about, trying to remember, it was something about, I think I said another March protest. Let me find out what I wrote. I don't want to mislead anybody. But, I just keep it real, Les Kimber was the one who started the MLK march here in Fresno. He was the one who started it, and he started it for a reason. He started it because he was, trying to, bring peace to, it says today. Now, I wrote this Sunday night. Today, another good MLK march, a bunch of promises. So that wasn't directed at the children. It was directed at the politicians because, number one, the politicians are the ones that makes decisions for our community. Number one, the Fresno 93706 has the highest concentration of poverty in the world. Okay, it's been like that for 7 or 8 years. You know, West Fresno, we have environmental racism. You know, supposedly Darling that cooked dead animals just supposedly closed down. You know, West Fresno has the only park that's been turned, a dump that's been turned into a park. You know, the economic status of West Fresno. We're the tail of the city. And when, after Les Kimber, you know, may he rest in peace, he died, I think 2 years ago. You know, he created that MLK to remind people that, hey, you know, black people are human too. You know, poor people are human too. You know, and so it was symbolic to help the city of Fresno and people understand that, hey, we can't forget about people, you know. But what happened over the years, and I keep teaching everybody this, is that whoever controls the finances controls the narrative, okay? And City Hall then made an MLK committee, and then they started financing it. They started putting money into it. And then they started controlling it, okay? So we get all these.
They hijacked the narrative.
We get all these promises and promises and promises. I mean, West Fresno just got a grocery store. Took 30 years to do it. Do you think it take 30 years to get a grocery store in River Park up north? No, it don't. So politicians are responsible for that. I wrote an article, and those can look it up on Google. Politicians toying with Black history. I wrote a part 1 and a part 2, and I need to do a 3 and 4. But politicians toying with Black history, because see, when you go to the MLK March every year, the conditions of the people have not changed, right? But yet you go to do what? To march for what? And then you have all the people. See, it ain't about the people. It's about the politicians holding Dr. King's sign talking about, I had a dream. But yet everyone living in the ghetto. I had a dream. But yet we got dysfunctional educational system. I had a dream. But we live in environmental racism. I had a dream. We still dealing with police brutality and people being shot unarmed in Fresno. So when I look at that, and then I look at all the people in the back of the line, but all the people or politicians in front of the line, and when you go through the entire week-long process, the politicians are controlling everything. The politicians go up and talk at the microphone.
They hijack the narrative.
So I'm saying, well, the conditions haven't changed from this year to that year. I'm 50 years old, August 24th, Lord's willing. The conditions haven't changed in 93706. We're worse off now than we was years ago. So, you know, people have to, you know, don't get so emotional, you know, when I post things. You know, and I tell people, if you want to know what I'm talking about, call into the show. Send me a message. Hey, Harris, you know, I don't quite understand what you meant by that post, but can you talk about it on your show? I'd be more than happy to talk about it. But just to get all emotional and da-da-da, I mean, it's a waste of time. I wrote another post. Fresno, wake up and understand you do not partner with the police. Do you think the black... Brother, let me ask you a question. Do you think the Black Panther Party partnered with Oakland PD?
Let me explain something to you.
I'm just asking.
I can tell you very much so. No, I can tell you very much so. Oakland PD and the Black Panther Party never, ever, 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 ever broke bread, sat at the same table, unless it was a committee to get them out of the neighborhood. But as far as we don't get together and work together, no. Because there was no working with them. You cannot work with the enemy. You can have a uneasy peace, but you can't work together. And that's a fact.
Yeah.
See, again, we know West Fresno. I grew up in West Fresno. We know nothing has changed for decades. Those who did go for it and try to get something changed had to deal not only with the white administration downtown, they had to deal with them black folks in the community who sold out. Let me take a few pennies and get over on the other folks' side. Let me go over here and help the white folks because they lying in my pocket. White folks talk to the people they want to talk to. Why don't you go back and tell your community they need to vote this way and go do this for them? And they come back and do it. And they get them to do it. And nothing changes. They put up a few new houses, economic development. They put up a few new houses and thought they did something. But they didn't bring no businesses to the west side. They didn't build no stores on the west side. They didn't build no clinics on the west side. But every other part of town, especially out north, got what they want. That's like some prayer. That's how they've always gotten there. In order for us to keep Edison on the west side, a lot of our uncles and aunts and cousins had to get together to tear down the old Edison so they could start building a new Edison. Because they had a game plan. They wanted us out of there. Right. They wanted to build us a brand new school elsewhere and call us the Douglas Dolphins. They wanted to name it after Frederick Douglass.
Well, let me add.
Go ahead.
Why is it that Fresno, we say charity starts at home? Why do you think it's not a big outcry when someone here gets killed, but yet when someone else gets killed somewhere else, everyone's all fired up?
Again, you have to have a certain mindset. They have bought into this, oh, it's just Fresno. That's how it's always been here. And they allow, and I'm just not going to, I'm just going to put it out there. It's not just the police, but we have gang issue problems on the west side, on the east side, out in the southwest, out the northwest. Close, as quiet as it's kept. Tree garden, as quiet as it's kept. But see, you have been conditioned, and here's the problem. People in Fresno have been conditioned to accept what goes on.
Right.
They have been conditioned to allow these things to happen.
Well, let me talk.
In a city where officers have killed people, how many officers have been indicted for shooting and killing somebody? How many?
Really, none. None that I know.
None. How does that happen? And let's just say from 1968 till now. How does that happen?
Right.
That lets you know what goes on here. Too many deals are being made downtown. Too many political deals are being made in this city. And none of them benefit the black and brown men.
Well, let me talk about this. There's some information that came out today, and I'm going to be very honest.
Man, just tell the truth for shame and justice. Just tell the truth for shame and justice.
that I'm gonna see if I can find it and read it. But the bottom line is that there's supposed to be a protest tomorrow in River Park. I think Blackstone and Nees. And
River Park.
Right. And it's titled Black Lives Matter. Now, many people may know or may not know that I was the one who started Black Lives Matter here in Fresno. And then after that, I guess everybody else started using the title, whatever. But this post, I'm going to try to find it and read it for everyone because I think everyone needs to know what's, because I'm getting people contacting me saying, is there a protest tomorrow? And the protest is about violence. It's about going out to River Park and tearing up everything. And I don't know who, well, only people that I can think that's putting this together is the white supremacist groups, to get our kids caught up in some type of silliness. And so Pastor Joby Jones has let me know that he received the information too, because we don't want our children getting caught up in some mess. Okay, we got too much going on in our community right now to have our children getting caught up. And so I'm trying to find the post here that was sent to me this morning in regards to okay, let me just give me 1 second. Okay, I think I have it. Okay. And the police look for our children to get caught up. Okay, I just found this. So let me read this to everybody. Okay, I'm thinking it's going to get bigger. It's getting smaller. Okay, here we go. All right, Black Lives Fresno riots. That's... Okay, let me blow it up. Black Lives Matter. Oh my God, this thing. Give me a second here. Give me a second. Okay, caller on the line, 333-66. Are you still on the line?
Yes, I'm forwarding you the BLM, the fake BLM.
Okay. Can you give us your perspective of what this is about?
The fake post?
Yeah,
or,
the fake post.
Well, I think it's being done either by an entity inside. I'm just gonna put it out there, Fresno PD, because we know police departments across the country have been inciting things, but most people in Fresno, from what I got today from just reading different posts, believe that it is like a right-wing group or white supremacist, white racist group. I hate calling them supreme anything, or a white racist group that is basically trying to bait folks in and get everything riled up to where businesses are saying, well, we're going to protect our storefronts. So if they come out here, make sure we protect our storefronts and so forth. So I think it's just to try to incite and get people riled up and ultimately get our people of color, our black youth, our people of color, harmed and hurt. But the truth of the matter is, most of our protests are peaceful. Out of all, we have 5 protests this week, and not one of them was not peaceful, whether the police had a high presence or a low presence or no presence. So, that whole violence that's being perpetuated across the United States by folks from the outside wanting to incite things. And it's just pure greed. You know, I saw posts where they said, you know, that they were blaming black people for protesting and looting, and they showed a picture and several pictures of looters, and they were white. You know, so just another thing, another narrative that we got to knock. And
can I
is about, to paint a picture.
Can I ask you to read that? Can I ask you to read that, please? I just can't. It's too small, and I don't want to hurt my eyes.
Okay. So the post, and I'll also send it to you, forward it to you. The post says BLM Fresno riots. Riots will begin at 4 p.m. at River Park on 6/2/2020. Meet spot at Bruce Chris Steakhouse. Some of it is covered with the little stamp over to notify us that it is a false flag event. We encourage and okay, I can't see that part. It's a red thing covering it for the new one. Tear up. So where's this? The people that's coming to this are supposed to tear up Caucasian infrastructure, send a message to PD, fight back the oppressors. Initial targets are Target, Best Buy, Marshalls, jewelry stores, Bevmo, etc. So I'm going to send it over to you if you need to put it on the show, but yeah.
So the last part, there's a last part on there. Can you read that last part?
Okay, so okay, you have to go back.
It says a Tyree mass, all black clothing, in solidarity, bring riot gear, boats, rocks, and gasoline. First of all, let me just say this. We want to discourage, which we don't believe this is real, but we're going to discourage anybody tearing up anybody's stuff. Period. We know that people are upset. They have a right to be upset. I'm upset. But it's not right for me to go and tear up someone else's stuff. Okay. They worked hard for that. You know, we if we want to make solid change, we have to organize, mobilize. I'm just going to tell you what Freedom School, we educate, motivate, energize, organize, and mobilize. Those are the 5 things we have to do to make real change. If we don't like the district attorney that's in office right now, which I don't like her, when I say like her, I don't like her policies and her behavior, not as a person, but politically, she's in that seat. We need another DA. So we need to start working on finding someone to run against her to get her out of office, okay? If we don't like the mayor, I ran for mayor of Fresno. The voters didn't vote me in. They voted the corrupt Dyer. That's going to be the mayor of Fresno. We need to go down to the election office right now, this week, and find out how many votes it takes to recall him if it gets to that. We need to be in preparation, okay? See, our power is a couple of things: our money and our vote. Those are the two things. Our money and our vote is our power. And we have to come together collectively as people on common ground to say, hey, we want a healthy community. We want healthy politicians that believe in equality. I don't believe we have that in Fresno when it comes to city council or board of supervisors. Okay? So my point is, when I read this information that talks about the riots that's going to be happening in Fresno, first of all, it doesn't even sound like someone of color that even wrote this. Okay? Because if you're a real freedom fighter, revolutionary like I am, I'm not going to go broadcast what I'm going to do. I just go do it. And I'll deal with the consequences later. This post that came out using Black Lives Matter, okay? Again, someone is trying to entice us as a people for us to be targeted by law enforcement again. You know, people are contacting me saying, hey, I'm hearing there's a protest out in River Park. I mean, it could be. It could be an ambush for our people to go out there. So we have to worry. I'm always worried about safety. Even in protests, I'm worried about people's safety. I'd rather get hurt than to see the protesters get hurt. But this information that came out today is very misleading. It's not anything that I would support. And we're encouraging people not to go out there because you could get hurt. If this is the Klan or white supremacist folks who put this out in our community, they're trying to get something going, some type of, negative stuff going, then, hey. So here's the bottom line. We're at the end of our show. That was quick. Just don't go out there tomorrow. So I'm going to be talking to Pastor Joby Jones and some other people to make sure our young people don't go out there, because we don't want, again, our babies coming in contact with this situation. Tomorrow at 8 o'clock, you're going to have Maria Else and Aline doing their show tomorrow. I want to thank Brother Tony, who is my co-host. Real quick, can you tell them what you're going to be talking about? We got like 30 seconds.
Breonna Taylor. Let's say her name, and let's say the other names, the women who lost their lives to law enforcement.
Breonna Taylor. It's going to be a hot show, y'all. Tune in tomorrow. It's going to be hot. I'm telling y'all, it's going to be hot. Wait a minute, we got 29 minutes left. Okay, that's cool. All right, I thought we was going off at 10. All right, okay. So we're gonna keep
I could have said that later.
We're gonna keep rolling with this. We're gonna keep rolling with this baby here. Okay. All right. So nobody go out to River Park tomorrow. I'm sure law enforcement is already on this already. I hope they don't think I'm the one organizing it, because I'm not. I'm speaking against it. We're going to make sure that folks who have contacted me tonight, to let them know, do not go out there. We don't want nobody getting hurt or even whatever, thinking or being pulled over or anything like that. But protests, George Floyd. How do we move forward in 2020? As a people, what should we be focusing on right now? Is it policy? Should we be more focusing on doing more marches, more protests? Should we be focusing on doing little small groups and organizing around this? Should we be changing policy from the local level or the state level or the national level? You know, what is our marching orders right now? I mean, we can only protest for so long. You know, what happens after that? Anybody, talk to me. Anybody.
You know, people talk a lot about people talk a lot about sitting down at the table, you know, with these, you know, with the police and city officials and so forth. But I really think we need to be sitting down at the table with our people that we know that's out there just trying. I mean, we might have different ways, but the ones that's out there putting in the work, like at the end of the day, we have a common win goal. And the common win goal is to make it better for our people, make it better for our kids. So those people that's out there doing the work out of sincerity and genuineness and not out of chasing clout or chasing prestige and power, we need to be sitting at the table together first and coming up with a plan, a strategy, and where do we want to take this? And if we do want laws changed, what are those laws? How long have they been on the books? How do we go about changing them? You know, and who's going to take each leg of the you know, who's in what position? You always say who's on first, who's on second, who's on third with us, you know, because we're a team. We need to, you know, build on it and make a all-star team. You know, we got teams of people, teams of good people out there doing good work. Sometimes we disagree, you know, and that's okay. But, you know, we need to make an all-star team where we bring those people together and say, well, how do we really be effective? Who do we contact? And where is the resources and how do we get there? You know, and have people willing to be on that all-star team and leave any kind of egos at the door for that common win. What is our common win? What do we all want to do? And in the end, what do we want to see? I know it's liberation for our people, you know, so what does liberation look like and what do we need to do to get it? That's my opinion.
My co-host, Brother Tony, what do you feel marching orders is? Where do we go from here?
Well, I have to be honest. Sister Maria, she nailed it. She hit every point I was just getting ready to discuss. Because, again, it is one thing to sit down at a table. It is one thing to sit down at the table with the police. It is another thing to sit down with like-minded people and get a game plan and a strategy in place and stand firm on that. Building a coalition, that is one of the best things we can do, to work together with like-minded people and march forward in one direction together. Because it's hard to drown out the voice of many as opposed to the voice of one.
Well, there you have it, y'all. Two revolutionary brothers and sisters in Fresno. I want to thank everybody for tuning in to our show tonight. Please share the show. If there's something you want to talk about, inbox me, let me know. I'll be happy to review it, look at it, and see if it's something that's hot for our show. I want everyone to go through my Facebook. Educate yourself. Malcolm self-educated himself when he went to prison. He wasn't educated by the Western European school system. He made his own diploma. Malcolm X made his own bachelor's degree. Malcolm X made his own master's degree. And Malcolm X made his own doctorate degree. So it shows that we can self-educate ourselves if we apply ourselves. We have to start applying ourselves to the movement, to justice, freedom, and liberation for our people. We have to apply ourselves. We have to apply ourselves in the 21st century. Because if we don't apply ourselves, we're going to be in big trouble. Dr. King applied herself. Malcolm applied herself. Shirley Chisholm applied herself. Megan Evers applied himself. Rosa Parks applied herself. Black Panther Party applied themselves. The people in 1921, Tulsa, Oklahoma, applied themselves to build their own community. They didn't have Facebook in 1921. They didn't have Instagram in 1921. They didn't have a laptop or iPad or iPhone. But we have all that today. We have a podcast. We have an iPhone. We have a laptop. We have a desktop. We have Instagram. We have Twitter, Reader, whatever you call it. So all we have to do is apply ourselves. Understand that our money and our vote is our power as black people. All people, especially black people. And we haven't taken advantage of that. We have to spend more time embracing one another instead of putting each other down. We got to kill, and I'm going to use the word, we got to kill Jim Crow. We have to kill black codes. We have to kill the racism that is placed in our society. Our children in the 21st century don't have time to be dealing with institutionalized racism, systemic racism. They don't have time for that. We got to be building nations. We got to be building community. We got to be building an economic stability for our community. We got to build businesses in our community. Stores, warehouses, businesses that's supplying service to our people. That's where we at today. That's where we at today. And we have to stop this police brutality. We have to stop this black on black crime. We have to stop all this selling of narcotics and all this stuff to one another. All that stuff was planted in our community to destroy the minds. As Brother Tony said earlier, it's the mind that we got to change. If we change the mind, we change the heart. But if we don't change our mind and our behaviors that's been taught to us by the Europeans, then we're going to self-destruct as a people. Look at how many people we have in prison that's black. When you go to the courthouse, you go to the courtroom, you see all the black and brown people coming in with chains, look like they just got off the slave boat. This is where we at, family. And we have to invest in us. Listen, if you know how to deal with money, then you handle the money. If you know how to fix the car, fix the car. See, everybody has a role here. Huh? Everybody has a spot at the table to help build. But long as our behavior stays the same and all we're going to do is kill the brain cells in our head by smoking weed all the time, drinking all the time, taking out our liver and our pancreas, our kidneys, if we're going to snort coke all the time and shoot up with heroin all the time, how in the hell are we going to build a nation for the next generation?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, somebody got to hear me this evening. Because, see, many of you in Fresno take me for granted. But then when I leave here, you're going to say, oh, we lost a good man. Because you're not going to have anyone like me speak truth to power like I do and don't sell out. So we have a job to do, family. And that's to build a nation, brick by brick. And we have to connect the dots with the black family. See, what happened to George Floyd could have been me, could have been you, could have been your brother, could have been your father, could have been your nephew, could have been your grandpa. And we have to understand that we have to be our brothers and sisters' keeper. Now, you could keep living like you living and don't self-educate yourself. Or you can step up to the plate and help us build the nation and change policy, change legislation where it needs to be changed in Sacramento, across the country. We got to get more politically inclined. Malcolm X said it himself. He said, we got to control the politics of our community. We got to control the businesses of our community. We got to control the landscape of our community. That's our job to do that. I told someone the other day, I said, soon as you get your education, you lived in West Fresno all your life. Soon as you get your education, the first thing you want to do is move out the hood. You move out, white folks come in and buy the hood. See, we owe better to our grandparents because they the one brought us here. Great-great-grandparents brought us here. So we have to leave a legacy for them, so they'll be proud of us. We salute all of our families across the country who were all brought over here on slave ships, chained up, wrapped up, urinating on one another, feces on one another. That's how we were brought to this foreign land. And on this foreign land, black people built everything that's in America. And we are the best teachers in the world. I want to thank you for tonight's show. Just wanted to give you a little motivation talk there. Tune in tomorrow, 8 o'clock, with host Maria Else and co-host Aline Reed. They're going to be throwing it down tomorrow. I'll have my front row seat with my popcorn and drink, listening to the show. And Brother Tony, give us a word so we can go ahead and go to bed tonight.
It's been a hard week to be a black man and a black woman in America. But we cannot let that deter us. We cannot let Sister Taylor and Brother Floyd's death go in vain. We have to stand tall. We have to fight back. We got to make it better for that next generation coming. I'll holler.